Good evening, Suns fans. I hope everybody is having a fantastic Saturday night. I know I am. The Suns have just defeated those Dallas Mavericks, one of those teams that is just kind of, we always get up for it, if you will. We're always excited to play them. The Suns win 111 to 105 on the first of two against the Dallas Mavericks. Can't be more excited. Love winning these kind of games. Matthew, as I welcome you as per usual to the Suns Jam Session podcast. How excited are you after that dub?
Oh man, a little bit of an animal comes out inside of me every time we play the Mavericks. I'm a little bit angrier. Maybe it's the whiskey, but I get a little bit high strung in my little apartment over here. Things are crashing around and people are calling the police once in a while. It's a different game when we're playing these guys.
It really is. You get excited for it. Of course, there's all the multiple narratives that come along with a Dallas Mavericks Phoenix Suns game. But at the end of the day, it's one of those teams that we beat. So it's nice.
Yeah.
But it still could be stressful along the way, as tonight proved.
It is, especially because, the Mavericks haven't won a game in 4 games. How long has it been? 5 games or something in a row? 3 games?
This is their 5th one that they've lost in a row.
5 games in a row. So, of course, they're going to come out. They have to win one of these 2 games coming up. So, it's going to be a struggle for the Suns, but you can tell by this game it was a struggle, like for sure. And probably going to the next game, it's going to be the same exact thing. But all we had to do is make our shots. And we're just hoping those threes would go down, and they did tonight. And CP3's shots went down. That's all we needed to pull this one off.
Well, and it was just a well-played game by the Suns in the fact that when they started to have struggles with the three-point line, they decided to go back down on the low block, even having Etuan Moore back somebody down and put up some points. So plenty of reasons why they won, plenty of reasons why we're going to celebrate on this Saturday night. Thank you if you're joining us. We truly appreciate it. If you're joining us via YouTube, make sure you subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, hit it as many times as you can. Suns win tonight, man. If you're listening on the Brightside Podcast Network, make sure you rate, subscribe, and review. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at Darth Voida. You can follow Matthew on Twitter
at In the Dark at Matthew Lissy.
And you can follow.
Never have a lighting situation. That's good.
We got to get you like one of those ring lights. Like I know you have glasses.
I'm gonna get one and put it straight ahead of me up to the top, so it's perfect. I just haven't ordered it yet. So as soon as that comes in, it still won't work, but I'll let you know when I get it.
Well, I think that because my lighting is all right, you can see I'm very porcelain. I'm like ghost white. I need a tan very, very badly.
Just put some makeup on.
Nah, yeah, gross, man. Come on,
okay.
Dude. No, none of that stuff here on the Suns Jam Session podcast. But plenty to talk about, plenty to celebrate. If you have a beer, go ahead and crack it open with us. Again, thanks to my friends at Huss Brewing. I've got an Arizona Light, a Huss Arizona Light. What are you going to crack open there, Matthew?
I got an old Fat Tire, last one in there.
Can't argue with a Fat Tire.
It killed a White Claw in the fridge. So it ain't one of those, and now it's a Fat Tire. So I don't know what that means.
It's got the spare tire around the belly from eating the White Claw.
Yeah. Here you go.
Well, crack them if you got them, Suns fans. Let's celebrate. Oh yeah, let's celebrate a Suns dub. Big win for the Phoenix Suns. We are now officially on a winning streak as we have won 2 in a row now. The team sits at 10-8 after downing the Dallas Mavericks, Luka Doncic. Always a pleasure to do so. And the first question I got to know, Matthew, whenever we play the Mavericks, is it always a choppy game?
It is, right? It's always a close one. It's always you have to put up with the refs even more than any other game because we hate a lot of these players we play against, a lot of superstars. But, of course, Luka Doncic is the worst. Once he gets in the groove of making his fadeaway threes and then also getting the calls to go with it, nothing is more frustrating. And it always comes down to the wire. And it's one of these teams that we want to be. We kind of compete with them. It's like basically for me, between Ayton and Doncic, it's like the race to the title. Who can get the title first, to claim that victory? That's in my own head. That's what I always think every time we play the Mavericks. I don't care what you guys say. If you're upset because I'm talking about Doncic or whatever, that's fine. I want to see the Suns, of course, get the title before the Mavericks do and get these wins over the Mavericks anytime we can, just to settle that debate between the two. So anytime they can beat the Mavericks, especially without Booker, is fantastic. I know they didn't have Porzingis, but I mean, come on, man. Is he really going to make a difference?
You look at how the Mavericks have operated thus far this season, and they started off pretty hot out of the gate. Kristaps Porzingis wasn't a part of those runs. He comes back. They have struggled with him back. So part of the narrative entering this game when they said that Kristaps was out was like, oh, man, will they actually have better cohesiveness? Because integrating him into the offense has been a challenge for them thus far. Again, they lost 4 in a row coming into this game. They played against Utah last night, got smoked by the Jazz last night. So even though Kristaps was out, you still have to be concerned because Devin Booker was out. They said prior to the win against the Warriors, the Suns were 0-7 in games where Booker was out. They had the last 7 games he was out. The Suns were 0-7. So getting that victory against the Warriors was critical. This is absolutely a huge win, knowing that Devin Booker's out, knowing that he participated in shoot around and he most likely will be back for the Suns on Monday. Winning a game like this is big for the Suns because it sends a statement not only to the Mavericks, say, hey, reminder, guys, you guys might have got Luka, but we still beat you, so does it really matter? But also, hey, if they get on a hot streak, if it comes down to playoff positioning and seeding, we already have the season series on them. We play them 3 times this season. We played them to start the season off. We play them tonight, and then we play them on Monday, and that's it. 3 games against them this year. We own that season series. Unlike Denver, where Denver holds the tiebreaker, we hold the tiebreaker against the Mavericks. So very important win tonight for the Suns.
Yeah, they needed that. And I think any win they can get against any team in the West too as well, it helps them. And I knew this would be a battle for sure. And even with Booker out, anytime he's out, I want the Suns to just, I don't care how ugly it is. I don't care how much hair I pull out of my little mustache. I just want every win the Suns can get without Booker, no matter how nasty it is. I don't care.
Yeah, it's like in football. If you have your quarterback out and you win a game, it's a huge win. Booker is our best player. Is he playing up to the level that we want him to thus far this season? No, 22 points a game isn't really what we expect from Devin Booker. But if we're getting wins in his absence, they're paramount. They're huge. Knowing that he's going to come back, knowing that most likely we'll have him on Monday, just makes me so happy.
Yes, I know. That's great, right?
Absolutely. I mean, these are the games that you have to win. Speaking of Booker, I mean, what do you think about what he was wearing before the game? He looked like Ice Cube in the movie Friday.
Yeah. Well, he's always got the flannels. It's the Mexican heritage, I guess. He talks about the way he dresses, and he likes to throw it back to the Mexican heritage that he lives with and likes to show it off. He looks good, and no matter what he wears, it doesn't matter. He can wear a garbage bag. He'll look fantastic, dude. So, I mean, he looks great all the time, man. I don't know what else you want me to say.
I just think it's funny that he's wearing like the flannel big shirts that I used to wear in the 90s. I mean, I was thinking about it a couple days ago. It's 2021. That means it's my 20-year anniversary of graduating high school. I was class of 01. So I used to wear that kind of stuff coming up in like middle school and the beginning stages of high school. I'm like, bring plaid back, baby. Bring it back. I still got some shirts.
The flannels with the white undershirts and like your Janko jeans, or what is it? Is that what you had?
Hell yeah, don't hit them Jankos.
Yeah, this is a different thing he's trying to do. Not what you were doing in the 90s, I don't think.
Well, you talk about the beginning of this game, and there is so much to cover. So, again, Jamsters, thanks for hanging out with us. We're going to cover some of the different things of the game. The first thing that I noticed that I put down in my notes is the fact that the Suns were slipping all over the court, and it looked like they were playing a hockey game early on. Was Dallas? I mean, and then they were greasing the ball. It looked like we couldn't handle the ball halfway through. Is there some conspiracy theories out there we need to be aware of?
For what? For Luka? Yeah, we have to, right? With the slippage going on the court, of course. Like, they almost injured 3 of our guys right off the bat within the first 3 minutes of slipping. I was like, are we playing the Spurs right now? I'm like, I hate the Mavericks, but don't go that way, Mavericks. Like, stay away from the Spurs where you start cheating. I mean, you can complain all you want, look like a bunch of babies out there, but don't start cheating like the Spurs,
Yeah, don't be the Spurs. I can't wait to play them this season. I always have a special
good team.
Yeah, surprising team just because they're coached well. The Mavericks, though, they're the typical Mavericks. They're a team that coming into this game was the worst in the NBA in shooting 3-pointers. And in the first half, I mean, the Suns looked pretty bad. I mean, the Mavericks looked like the team that had a couple days off. They didn't look like a team that got their asses kicked in Utah last night, flew home to Dallas, and then came out and had to play. I mean, they were shooting unbelievable in that first half. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. It was a lot of luck because, like, from the body language that Luka was throwing out there, he looked like he doesn't want to be there. Because the comments he had, of course, after the last game is like, "We're not good enough," stuff like that. People might take it out of context, but they're just not. I mean, they don't have the weapons around him, of course, but who knows who you would put around Luka right now to be a better? I mean, you can put a superstar around him to be a better team, of course, but his playing, I don't know who you would put around him but 3-point shooters. That's what they were doing tonight. They were hitting every three that was given to them. Basically every shot, they were shooting 55% in the first half. But Luka, I mean, of course he had a bad first half with the technical and the 3 fouls, but his body language, he just looked like he didn't want to mess with this game. Did you get that from him a little bit? Because I feel like that's what I got from him. And I mean, the Mavericks were just kind of not lucky getting their shots, but they just could not miss.
Yeah, the way that they were attacking was something that I didn't really expect. I think that the Suns were allowing them to kind of shoot 3-pointers, knowing that this is the worst team shooting threes in the NBA. And like you said, they started knocking them down. In the first half alone, they went 5 for 12, and from the field they were 23 of 41 for 56% from the field. So a lot of the mid-range stuff, a lot of everything they wanted, they were getting, and you knew it wasn't necessarily sustainable. And then obviously when the second half started and they came out on a run and the Suns are down 10, 13, 15 points or 14 points, I think, at one point. You were like, oh, no, what the hell is happening? Like, this team just isn't missing, and they're not tired and they're not rattled. And even though Eddie Johnson wasn't calling this game, I remember something that Eddie always says. He goes, the Dallas Mavericks will always let you back in the game because they don't play defense and they shoot threes. And sure enough, that's kind of what the narrative of this story ended up being tonight.
Yeah, when you have your star guarding Jay Crowder for most of the game and Luka, then I think you have problems on defense, right? I mean, your best player just can't play defense. No one else is really going to follow in suit. That's why it's nice to have like DA as our defensive anchor, because I think a lot of people follow him on the defensive end, and I think that helps to have that. But you're right, man. I was actually worried. I feel like we could never get within 5 points with this team going into the second half. And I kind of thought, I was like, wow, we're not going to get any shots made. But luckily they fell, and especially Jay Crowder hit a bunch of threes with hands in his face that really helped the Suns, and Chris Paul just got it going. But the defensive thing with the Mavericks is something that sucks, because they're for them it sucks, not for us. It sucks for them basically, because if you're not playing defense and you have a losing record already, the Suns can hinge on their defense. I feel like they can have something as a backup weapon when they're not making shots, and that's what got them back into this game, was just the defense. The Mavericks can't do that. They just cannot do that yet this season, and I don't think they will. So it's nice that we have a team that plays great defense, and we have a center that can rebound. And Mikal Bridges tonight too, helping on the glass. So things like that. I'm grateful to be a Suns fan right now and not a Mavericks fan.
Yeah, I mean, don't those Mavericks kind of remind you of the Suns of the last about 7 or 8 years, where they do have some offensive firepower, but they have no defense. And that's a challenge that the Suns consistently faced over this past decade. Is we had the ability to put the ball in the hoop. I mean, Devin Booker putting up 26 points a game twice in the past 5 years, a lot of complimentary scores around, but we could never get stops, especially late in the game. Of course, the Suns of like 3 years ago, we'd always just lose by 20, but I feel like the Suns of the last 2 years, we lost so many games by 5 points or less, and it was just frustrating. And I feel like that's what a lot of Dallas is going through now. Do you think that they're still really the darling of the NBA?
The Mavericks?
Yeah. Everybody loves them.
They did. And people, when you start listening to more podcasts, they're kind of backing off a little bit with Luka and the Mavericks just because of how things are going. I mean, it is a shortened season. There's still a while to go. I mean, if you believe that Luka is the MVP, then why wouldn't he just bring this team back? Why wouldn't he just carry them like an MVP should? He's not doing that. So a lot of teams are backing away from that now, which is kind of nice, but also kind of scary. That's why it would be nice for the Suns to finish off this 2-game stint with another win next game, just to kind of not finish them, but just make it even more difficult for them to come back and battle the Suns. If the Suns are having a hard time late in the year, battle them for like that 7th or 8th seed to get us out of the play-in tournament. You know what I mean? So just kind of finish them off next game, especially if Book comes back. That's going to help a ton.
Absolutely. You mentioned Jay Crowder. I think we don't give Jay Crowder his due. I think that when he has one of those bad shooting nights, we're quick to say, hey, man, stop shooting 11 threes and only hitting 3 or 4 of them. His defense is a little shoddy sometimes, but I really was impressed with Jay Crowder tonight. And, coming into this game, his last 3 games, he was averaging 18 points, 7.7 total rebounds, 3.3 assists, 41% from downtown. And this game, he had 14 points, only 3 rebounds, no assists, but 4 for 9 from downtown. And as you mentioned, he was hitting some big ones early on and hit one in the middle of the fourth. I felt had a lot of magnitude behind it as well. Yeah. Why don't we give Jay enough credit? Are we assholes or something?
No, I mean, last pod we talked about him, and I just said I like he does 2 things. He'll shoot the 3 and then draw the foul from the 3, basically as a Sun. That's what he's going to do now. And we need him in games like this where I feel like Cam Johnson's not going to be like AJ Crowder at all, but I think that Cam Johnson needs to be more consistent like Jay Crowder in the future from 3-point land and maybe get the drawing on the 3s because nothing else is really working right now for him. So I like what Jay Crowder is doing out there to keep shooting 3s, even if he goes 1 for 11. It's fine. Of course, if the Suns lose, we might be upset. Be like, why don't you make a couple of those? Because he doesn't do much else, really. You know what I mean? He might be a distraction on defense. He might throw a couple good passes here or there to Ayton, but he doesn't do much else. But if he gets it going, that's what we need. That's why we have a bunch of 3-point shooters on this team. That way, one of them gets hot. It's great. It'll help us win a game like he did tonight. He made some big shots.
Absolutely. And his entry passes, although he didn't necessarily get all the assists this game, I was thinking about how he is one of the few Suns who knows how to somehow get the ball to DA. Because at the beginning of the game, that was one of our challenges. Those bad entry passes to DA again. And like, I came up with some questions and answer this. Yeah. Give me your opinion on these. Okay. So as we look at these bad entry passes to DA, it's definitely an area of opportunity. Again, Suns win, and we're Suns fans, so we, of course, look at the negative things. But I always think there's areas of opportunity. And I think that, is it DA's positioning? Is the Suns, tip their play too early on so the D can, they're always ready for it? Is DA too slow? Or do you think that it's a lack of CP3's ability to get to the rim consistently? So the defense always kind of falls back, and that's why CP3 gets so many middies.
That's a good question. I loved it because Drysdale today in this game, Ayton had the guy underneath the basket. I think it was Powell, the guy that's always on Ayton every game. They play the Mavericks, and he had him literally under the basket. And the way these guys look at DA is like he's a ghost. It's like they're looking at him like, oh my God, I just saw a ghost. That's the way they look at him before they even do anything with the ball. And Drysdale's like, throw him the ball. She started yelling. Just like she said, like EJ says, just throw it at his head, he'll catch it. But a lot of it, though, I think is if you keep giving him the ball, like they started to do in the second half, I feel like he'll get more comfortable. That's why I feel like every possession, he needs to touch the ball. He needs to touch the ball no matter what. Even if he passes out of it, him handling the ball more makes him more comfortable. Then at the end of the game, by the end of the game, he'll develop into a better offensive player. He'll get his shots, his little hook shots that I love. And he just needs to touch the ball every possession. Every possession he doesn't touch it, to me, is like a waste on the offensive end. I mean, if we score, of course, it's great. But I think he just needs to get that for the end of the game. I mean, what do you think, though? What is going on in this? We'll never stop talking about this with DA not getting the ball down low. But what do you think the reasons are?
Well, I think that
Watch 2021.
It's appropriate for that drop right now. It's that time.
Yeah.
I think that you're right. He needs to touch the ball on as many possessions as possible because he's also a really good passing big. Sometimes he's a little too passive, and we see that early on in the game. But he had 4 assists tonight, and a lot of those came in the first half. 3 of them did in the first half because he's looking for his teammates. He's trying to read how defenses are initially trying to attack him. Are they bringing doubles right of the way, or are they just letting him kind of do his thing? And again, He's not that guy who comes out with the high motor and is just attack. It takes some time to get into the groove of the game. You look at halftime, he's got 8 points, 7 rebounds. We always feel he could be playing better. He ended this game with 18 points and 17 boards. And those were some man dude boards in the fourth quarter. Those were ripping the ball down, saying, give me that fucking rock. And they were huge off of big misses. The thing that can kill the Suns sometimes is when the opposition misses a 3 and you get one of those deep rebounds and then they get another possession, or they get an offensive rebound down low, kick it outside, and boom, it's a 3 ball. DA was negating that tonight.
Yeah, no, he was. And the thing with his rebounding, he was crashing the boards, but he was also getting fouled. I feel like every time he was grabbing the board, everyone was on top of him. Like, I don't know what this is with the refs. Even Mikhail at the end of the game, Mikhail was grabbing the boards, helping DA, but there would be over the backs almost every time DA's getting the ball. And the refs just don't look that way. They don't care. They don't care that someone's reaching over, even if they don't touch the ball. That's just annoying. I feel like these players think that they can get away with it with DA. They can do whatever they want to him underneath the hoop when he's trying to grab the board, and no one's going to call anything. But big boards, you can tell, like, by him grabbing those boards, he's like, we're going to win this game. After that, what, he had 2 alley-oops from Chris Paul at the end of the game, or did he just have the one?
I think it was 2. He had one jam on a putback, and then he had that huge alley-oop, and that's when I stood up and I screamed. You know, that was the scream moment of tonight.
I was standing up from then on watching the rest of the game.
Yes, me too.
Dude. See, that's what dunks do. They get you out of your seat. They do. For fans, they'll get you out of your seat. You won't sit down.
No, you're absolutely right. Well, to be back at the game, standing up and screaming, I can't wait for that moment.
I know, punching old ladies.
When we talk about 8 and 2, there was a scary moment with 4 minutes left in the first quarter when homeboy, what's his name? James Johnson.
Yeah.
Dude, that guy scares me, man. Like 27-0 as an MMA fighter.
I never knew that.
Me neither, but he looks like an MMA fighter. Yeah, he kind of threw that body jab into DA, hit him in the left shoulder. He got a stinger. He goes out of the game in pain. You're like, oh no, man! Like, we're already down Booker. We have a weakened front line. Although Frank Kaminsky was a vital part of the win over the Warriors, you can't expect that every game. Like Lace Bacon says in the chat, tell that dude Johnson that this is the NBA, not the MMA. Like, I completely agree, right?
Yeah, little nasty stuff he did. That's just the player he is. He's definitely scary. He looks like the My Player. So he's like a top 10 in there for a My Player creation from NBA 2K.
Yes.
Yeah, he looks like one of the guys I would create because he looks just badass and you don't want to mess with him. But then they see me behind the controller in my apartment playing the game. I look nothing like him. You know.
Just some scraggly facial hair. That's where you guys stop.
I love, like, when I mentioned the mustache, there was like fights going on in between the Jamsters about my mustache. It was nice. I like that.
Matthew and his facial hair. If you want to excite the guy, just talk about his facial hair.
Yeah, okay.
If you want to donate to his face Rogaine, you can do that by emailing us sunsjamsession@gmail.com.
Please.
Another thing that was absolutely vital to the success of this game is the fact that the Suns were getting to the free throw line. And we've talked about it in losses, how the team is not doing a good job of adjusting and taking the ball to the rim. It's something that Monty has made that adjustment in the last few games, and we're really starting to see it pay off because we're one of the top free throw shooting teams in the league. The Suns in the first half, 12 for 12. The Mavs were 4 for 6. And this is where, when the game was tied at 55 at halftime, despite the Dallas Mavericks scoring on 56% of their field goals and the Suns only scoring on 44%, the reason we were in the game was those free throws. What ended the game was Chris Paul on a free throw barrage, and the Suns ended 27 of 31, and the Dallas Mavericks 8 for 14. So we more than doubled up on their free throw attempts, something that I was not necessarily expecting as we talked about this game on our last podcast. Dallas typically does a good job of just having Luka take it to the rim and having having Luka get his way. What are your thoughts on how the Suns continue to develop this ability to get to the rim, and how does it make you happy or sad?
No, I mean, today was great. I think that when Chris Paul, there was one play where actually I felt like the game was kind of getting away from the Suns. I feel like the Mavericks are going on a run, but Chris Paul took it to the rim and got fouled. Like, that was one thing I feel like even on this podcast, we always ask the Suns to do. It's like, you're not making the threes, you're losing the game, you're going too fast, you're turning the ball over, but Chris Paul made it an effort to get to the line at crucial times. And I like the way Galloway, everyone was doing that because they know, like, that's the recipe for success. And I think that they'll end up figuring that out sooner or later. I think they know that, but just the act of doing it and stop shooting so many threes really helps. And that one play where Chris Paul took it, like, I think it was just a normal offensive play. He just took it to the rim and there was nothing set. It wasn't a fast break or anything. It just got to the line. Mm-hmm. That was what I feel like kind of turned the game for the Suns, because those 2 free throws were very crucial for the Suns. I mean, they missed a couple. I think they missed 3 in the fourth. Ayton missed 2. Chris Paul missed 1. I was like, shoot. But besides that, there it is. They did pretty well getting to the line.
No, absolutely. And I think that again, that's absolutely paramount. The play that you're referencing, it was an offensive or a defensive rebound by the Suns. They pushed the pace real quick, and Chris Paul had just been teed up. He had and after the technical, he hit a three. And then they come down, they get the board, and then they run it right back down their throats and get the foul. And right there you go, okay, that's everything you need to know about Chris Paul and who the Suns can be in this situation. Is they can hit the three ball on occasion, but don't rely on it. Just because you hit one, a way to get out of games real quick, and look at how Dallas closed by shooting the three ball, is get to the line, force the issue, put these guys on their heels and on their toes. And you know that they're not necessarily a great defensive team, so they are going to commit those fouls, put them in those compromising situations. I think we really need to give a lot of credit to Mikal Bridges tonight. The way that he was getting under Luka Doncic's skin, taking him one-on-one. Luka was getting Luka'd. I mean, Chris Paul, after there was a foul where Luka was frustrated in the first half, and he pushed Mikal, right after that, Chris Paul did kind of the come through his arm thing, and Luka got a tech, and it was nice to see that, right?
Yeah, it was really nice. And just really quick, Ryan G, yes, that's a Rock action figure. There's actually 3 of them in the back, if you can see them. Once I get a light, you can see them very well. Yeah, so I actually wrote that on my notes that Luka is getting Luka right now. And what kind of sucked is it was only going into halftime. So I was like, oh, now he has to regain strength at halftime. Adjustments are made, so he'll come out firing. So if that happened like in the third quarter, that would have been awesome. But I liked what Mikal was doing. The only question I have for you, though, is do you think Mikal... The only question out of in the next 2 minutes for me to ask you is Mikal Bridges on Luka.
I lost it, Matthew.
He said,
"Say it again."
Oh, sorry, did I cut out?
Yeah.
Okay, Luka Doncic on Mikal Bridges. That's what I was here to see. That's what I wanted to see all night. But Monty Williams, I heard, wanted to play a team defense on Luka. And every time that Mikal was actually on Luka, I feel like it was very hard for Luka to do anything. And Luka was trying to avoid him, running around screens, switches, and seriously just standing there waiting for the offense to go because he didn't want anything to do with Mikal. That's the way it looked. And then they kind of switched things up where there was different players on Luka, and he would take advantage of it. It's just like, why is Monty not like, hey, Mikal, I know we need your offense, but we want you to focus on Luka Doncic and stopping him. Is that something that I'm just crazy about, that I just want always to happen every game? Or do you like the team defense, though?
I love it when you ask me questions, Matthew.
That was a long question.
It was a long question, but it was I love that you asked it. Here's the way that I look at it. Monty's coming to this game saying, you know what, we're going to play team defense on Luka. Do you know why? Because whenever the Mavericks play the Suns, all they try to do is switch Mikal off of Luka. They run the high screens and get him off, so Cam's on an island with him, Jay's on an island. So if you come into a game and you're like, listen, we need to do team defense, all you're doing is entrusting the other guys on the team to say, hey, when you're on an island and you're against Luka, I trust you. What happened in this game is you saw Mikal get through a lot of those screens and was D'ing him up. His performance in the last 4 minutes of the game when Luka was trying to back him down on the block was one-on-one on an island, Mikal versus Luka, and we saw the Warden in session. He dominated him. He didn't score. He did not let him score. He was forcing fadeaway Dirk Nowitzki type middies, and that's not Luka's game. Luka's game is get to the rim, run floaters, do stop pops, and do some of that dream shake shit, and put the ball in the basket, or when he's down there, pass out to an open three-point shooter. That's the design of their offense. So I think that Monty was doing that in an effort to kind of say, hey, as a defense, we can shut this guy down. So when you're on an island with him, you got him. And then, of course, Mikal came and showed, hey, you know what? I can take him and I can fight through these screens because he knows that it's coming. We've seen it time and time again. Every time the Warden is on the Luka Doncic, he gets switched off of him. So I think it was really a nice defensive game for Mikal. You know, from an offensive standpoint, too. I mean, Mikal had a really good game. And, you know, with the 14 points, 6 for 12 shooting, only 1 3, 4 boards, you know, nothing crazy. But when you have to guard somebody who's going to constantly tax you on the defensive end and you can still add some offense on the other side, it's a great game. It's a great game for him.
I like that you pointed that out. I mean, I did kind of think that, you got to trust your teammates because it's not always going to be Mikal. Because if he does fight over those screens, Luka will draw the fouls. So I feel like the switches need to happen quickly just to adjust that the teammates know, like, hey, like I like that you trust me taking on Luka and we can switch with no problem. They need that. And I like that you pointed out because I didn't really think about that too much. I just wanted to see Mikal just like beat the shit out of Doncic.
Well, he did in
the chance, right?
Yeah, he did at the end of the game. Shamil Kasim in the chat. Matthew got a Chappelle Rick James on in the background. Your background's so awesome, man. It's fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's only when
recorded
the
everything. Though. That's all I recorded that right there.
When the Suns lose, you have to have a really
I know. And I thought of stuff. I just got to make it. I'm sorry, maybe next year.
One thing before I talk about kind of went on in the second half, did you notice how there was like 2 first half buzzer beaters from the Mavericks? And do you remember how last year that was an Achilles heel of the Suns? Like I literally on a podcast last year I went through every basketball reference game or NBA game and figured out, or NBA stats game and figured out how many buzzer beaters the Suns had. And like right before the lockdown happened, there was like 43 buzzer beaters against the Suns last year. It was so annoying. I saw 2 of them like, fuck.
Well, that's why we always think it's going to go in. Like when the Mavericks made them, I'm like, yeah, of course they did because we're used to it, right? We're used to that coming and going where every team is coming and going. They're making the buzzer beaters. That's what I meant to say. Yeah. So yeah, we're just used to it, dude. So when it goes in, I just don't even care anymore. Honestly, I don't even get upset. I'm just like, yeah, this is what happens.
I still do.
Do you?
Oh, absolutely. I hate buzzer beaters, because
I know.
So you have that buzzer beater to end the first half, and then the Mavericks start the second half on a 12-0 run. So if you count that buzzer beater as a 14-0 run to start the second half. So we're tied 55-55. It is 67-55 with 7 minutes left, and you're like, oh, great, here we go again. And one of the reasons for that is Luka Doncic came out much more aggressive. Of his 29 total points, he scored 18 of those in the third. You started to see kind of a drought from 3. The fumbling issues for the Suns, they, seen as they were in Dallas, they kind of looked like Ezekiel Elliott this past season. But I think what really pulled us out of it was the Suns started to pound the rock inside. I mentioned it earlier, like you had Etuan Moore backing down and pushing the pace and trying to get the ball in the hoop from down low. And like those are things you want to see. Huge minutes from Etuan Moore tonight, by the way.
Yeah, no, he looked really good, and I like how he came in to play point. In the first 2 possessions, he basically took it to the rim. Second shot, he missed, but it didn't matter. Like, he was out there, and he looked like he mattered and wanted to belong. I think he's realizing, like, these minutes that he's getting right now, which he had 13 tonight, scored 4 points, but he was very effective, I feel like, on those 2 scores. But other than that, he actually made a difference other ways too. He just looked more confident on the floor, trying to be a part of the Suns team, which I don't feel like he really was before, where he's trying to adjust himself. But now he looks like, we can kind of count on him, right? And like you get excited about these guys coming in off the bench, especially Nader. Like every time I see him come in, I'm pumped. I'm excited. And in the third quarter, you see him come in for Cam Johnson because Cam Johnson's just kind of struggling right now. Not knowing what to do, not doing much actually, which is fine. I mean, he's second year. I mean, we can't be too hard on him yet.
Exactly. And he's your last offensive option of your starting 5.
Exactly. And like when Nader comes in, it's exciting because he can shoot the 3. He'll take the ball to the rim. His IQ is very high for an NBA player. I'm not saying he's an all-star or anything. I'm just saying he fills the role very well. He's long and can play defense. So when he comes in, I love it. I love that we have him to like kind of fill that void a little bit for the guard position.
And that's the quality of this team, again, is the depth. It's in prior years, that's Ty Jerome. Those are Ty Jerome minutes. Okay. If you have injuries and things, that it's Elie Okobo minutes.
How dare you?
So I mean, again, he didn't put up a great stat line, like you said. 13 minutes, 4 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 2 for 4 from the field. He did have that 1 steal though, and he was pesky enough. He wasn't campaign pesky, but knowing that campaign is out and having him come in and provide those minutes was absolutely paramount. Same thing with Langston Galloway. I mean, Langston Galloway, 12 minutes in the first half, 12 minutes in the second half. That's what we like to see, man.
Yeah, and just more of it. More minutes, the better. This guy is just all over the place. never making a bad decision on the court. I don't feel like there was one play where the play was busted, but he was in the paint, did a little pivot, and he passed it back out. You know what I mean? He didn't force anything. I feel like a lot of the times when these players come in, and especially backup point guards in the past, like they would just throw the ball away. You know, you see it all the time. Like nothing's there to try to force it, but he just doesn't do that. He's a very smart player. And even if he's shooting the three with a guy like he did that tonight, where he hit a big three tonight with the guy, the defender, the hand in his face, nailed it. But even before he shot that, when he was in the act of shooting, I was very happy and I was overjoyed that he's shooting the three. I don't care if he misses it or not. I just like him shooting that three and just being on the floor.
Yeah, again, it's instant offense. It's veteran presence. It's somebody who has confidence and you have confidence in. Again, you look at prior rosters and you didn't have confidence in those guys. You know, Elliot Kobo shoots a three. He was your no guy. Ty Jerome just was lost. He was a deer walking around getting hit by semis because he didn't know where the fuck he was. So having these guys, those are valuable minutes, especially when your star player's out, when Dario Saric is out. You need quality minutes from those guys. And again, each one more, 24 total minutes, 3 for 8 from the field, 12 points, a fantastic game again by him.
You're talking about Nader, right? Or who'd you say?
I'm talking about Galloway.
Oh, Galloway.
I haven't even talked about Nader.
More. I'm sorry.
No, Langston Galloway. So, I mean, it's pretty impressive to see the depth of this team. And even in our losses, I think what frustrates us is people like Galloway weren't getting the minutes. You start plugging Galloway in some of these games, some of those losses might be W's because when those long scoring droughts occur, he can put up 6 points real quick. I mean, he can be a point-a-minute guy and does it effectively. And who knows, the Suns could be 12-6 or whatever we are, 18 games. Yeah, 12-6 had Monty decided to pull that lever earlier. Instead, he was pulling the Javon Carter lever. Javon is unfortunately just not having the season necessarily where we're at. But you know what's great? There's going to be a time when we're going to need Javon because somebody else is hurt, and he'll come in and he'll perform. That's the beauty of this team. Win, lose, or draw. And we got to remember that. I mean, we're frustrated in losses. We're happy in wins. Duh, we're Suns fans. But there are positive things to take in those losses, and there's areas of improvement in those wins as well. So you got to look at kind of both sides. But I love Langston Galloway and the minutes that he's been getting.
Yeah, me too. And honestly, he does one thing that I love is the floater. The floater is money for him, even if it's not. He does it for a reason when he does it, when he puts it up and him and DA are running the pick and roll, which happened a couple times tonight. He'll just throw it up there, even if he doesn't know, even if he doesn't feel right releasing it. I feel like a lot of the guards, especially Galloway, will throw it up there because he knows DA is a really good offensive rebounder, puts himself in great position. Even if he misses it, a good chance is that DA is going to flush it back down. And I saw that a couple times tonight with him, but he has that floater and he hit a mid-range. Like he can shoot from other spots on the floor. And we see that with more minutes from him.
Yes. And he'll continue to grow within this offense if he gets those minutes. Again, fantastic game by the bench. Always appreciated. The one guy we obviously haven't talked about yet is Chris Paul. Chris Paul was doing Chris Paul things tonight. At one point in the fourth quarter, he had assisted on all 19 of the Suns' fourth quarter points. That's when the game was tied with 96 with 3:41 to go. The Suns obviously end the game on a 21-12 run, facilitated by the point god. His final stat line in this game, 29 points, 7 assists, 8 rebounds, 4 steals. I'm reading the wrong stat line. 29, 12 assists. I'm sorry, folks. I was reading Doncic. So him and Doncic both had 12 assists, 4 steals, 3 rebounds. It was nice to see the point guard active in creating steal opportunities for the Suns because those were huge in the fourth.
Yeah, they were. I mean, he was just money tonight. It was kind of like, who are we going to rely on really to step up? We just needed CP3 to go all out. Like everything he had tonight. I mean, he played ultimate minutes. He played like the whole fourth quarter with DeAndre Ayton. That's what we needed. I mean, it's like as soon as he started the fourth, it's like, when are you going to pull him out? You can't give him a rest with this game. Otherwise, we're going to lose. You know what I mean? And I feel like, just really quick, Dallas did a cool thing where like Doncic was resting the whole fourth until the 7th. It was a close game, and Doncic got to come in with the 7-minute mark, which is something
they were up a point too.
Exactly. Like they kept it close and they can come back. Like the Suns couldn't do that today. Like they had to keep most of their starters in the game, play big minutes to get this win. I think just knowing that Booker would be back, but Chris Paul, I think this has to be like his best game, right? As a Phoenix Sun, just making those big shots. He's made some big threes, big shots, steals, great passes to DA for alley-oops. I mean,
I think so. I mean, he had that one game against the Thunder where, from a point standpoint, I think he's put up 32 points. He did everything he could to will this team to a win, and the team lost. I think in this game, the team helped him out by hitting a couple of those big shots in the fourth quarter as a part of that 21-2 run that allowed the Suns to get the victory. So it feels like this was his best game, his best performance. Yeah. But he showcased a lot more, I feel, in this game because in that Thunder game, it was a lot of him in the fourth just being like, you know what, they're dropping on Ayton every time we try the high screen and roll, so I'm just going to shoot the midi all day long. In this game, he was doing a lot more. He was hitting threes. He was driving it to the basket. He was getting to the foul line. He was setting his team up for success. So a lot of those different things is the reason, for at least for me, that he's my
Jam star of the game.
And I'm sure he's yours as well, correct?
Yep. Yeah, of course. I mean, he has to be. We don't. What was that? I don't know what that was. He has to be.
He has to be. How's that fat tire treating you there, buddy? Happy Saturday night.
Yeah, happy Saturday. Thanks, everybody.
What
for
a win, man.
us.
I'm excited.
I'm glad I don't have a life, and I never have, so keep it up. But yeah, Chris Paul, just amazing tonight. You know, a lot of these shots he was making tonight, he shoots all the time. I mean, even with the defenders in his face, he knows he still has a good angle on the rim. He can usually drain those. Tonight, they came through. We just needed it. I'm just, like I said earlier, any way we can get this win, even with those shots with defenders in his face, big money, big ball shots. You know what I mean? That's what he did tonight. And we need him to do that. Well, we don't need him to do that all the time, but we need him to do it in these games without Booker.
we got
oh no, my voice didn't crack.
Det Nibble said you just hit puberty there.
No, my voice did not crack there. It's been a while since my voice cracked, actually. It's been probably like 5 or 6 episodes.
It was funny for those of you who watch the Sun Solar Panel. They're every Saturday morning, 8 p.m. or 8 a.m. I'm sorry, Arizona time. And Dave King was on there, and he was actually talking about one of the articles that you wrote for Brightside, talking about body language. And once he's like, Matthew Lissy wrote a piece. He instantly had phlegm in his throat, and I'm like, "Oh my god, it's like Matthew on the actual podcast."
Oh, nice.
You're like,
you know who's the worst at phlegm in their throat is Bill Simmons. Bill Simmons will go through 10 minutes of a pod with phlegm in his throat, where he can just
hear it.
Get rid of it. He does it still. Why does no one speak up to the man?
Just press pause and let go of the loogie. So, Let us know in the chat who you think the Jam star of the game is. If you're watching along with us, Jamsters, I'm sure you probably agree with us that it is Chris Paul. But it's also a good time to take a quick break and to remind you, if you're watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. Make sure that you join us whenever we go live, which is after every Suns game. And a reminder, as always, to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts. Looking at what everybody's saying in the chat, Darth Nader, but really it's CP3. Thank you, Alex. Darth Nader, again, the best nickname out there. Grim Reaper, CP3 from Vincent Stefanelli.
That name. Is that a real name? I think I ask it every time.
That's Vincent Stefanelli, and I believe, if I remember correctly, he's one of our loyal listeners from Indiana.
That's why I always ask it.
Chris Paul has earned his contract, but he would have got a ring in Houston if he didn't get injured in Game 5. Agree with the Boogie Trend on that comment. That was one of the great runs, and I was really excited to watch them dethrone the Warriors that year. But he's earning his contract. These are the games that he needs to step up, knowing that Booker's out. And when Booker comes back, guess what? CP3's minutes are going to decrease. You're going to see a little bit more of Point Book, and you're going to see the people like Abdul Nader, Langston Galloway, Etuan Moore. They're developing their confidence right now. And that's going to do nothing but pay dividends for this team in the long run. Again, it's made in AZ. CP3 earned his $560,000 check tonight. Yes, he makes a shit ton of money. But yeah, it really is. This team, the depth of this team is so vital. We're 18 games through a 72-game season. Peaks and valleys. It's going to happen. We're not going to win every game. We're not going to play well every game. It's just the way that sport goes. That's why we watch sport. but to see them develop and win 2 games in a row without Devin Booker, which is a thing if in the past 5 years, or at least the past 3, when Devin Booker's been the primary offensive factor on this team, to see this happen in his absence is absolutely huge. I can't get over that. And beating a Dallas team that is beat down right now, those are the teams you're supposed to beat. I want to do it again on Monday, man.
I want to just finish it off. And unlike last few years when Devin Booker's out, it's over. The whole season's over. The Suns have really fought back the last 2 games. It's been pretty nasty, but they're hanging in there. And any way they can get these wins makes me happy. That's the first thing I think about when the Suns win is like, thank God they just got this done. Thank God. Yes. I don't care. Even if we had the whole roster together to get these wins in this kind of season, I don't care. Just any way you can get these wins.
Absolutely. A win is a win. I don't care how you get it. Win ugly, win pretty. I don't care. A win's a win. One thing we've seen in the past is Devin Booker shunned from the All-Star game due to team record, right?
Yeah.
What are the odds that will happen to Luka? Because we are now halfway to the All-Star game. The All-Star game's after about 34 games. We're over the halfway mark. We're at 18. They're at, I think, 19 games played. Is there any way that he's a good stats, bad team guy, yet he still gets the nod?
No, he'll still get, honestly, he'll be a starter. Him and Trae Young are just those 2 guys that everyone loves in the NBA. I don't really care too much as long as Booker can get in, and maybe DA if they puts up good stats. And the Suns can get, like I said, last pod, 10 games above 500. That helps them a ton. I mean, it's very difficult, but that's probably what they're going to have to do. But yeah, Luka, for me, he's going to be a starter and an all-star starter for the rest of his career. Unless something just drastically happens where he gets pregnant or something happens weird, he'll be an all-star starter for the rest of his life. And I don't really care anymore. For me, it's the race to the championship. But what do you think?
Agreed. The championship's the all-important thing, but we host a podcast, so we have to talk about these kind of things. I'm waiting for that narrative to really flip on Luka, because it flipped on Russell Westbrook. If you remember, he won the MVP in 2016 or 17, averaging a triple-double for the first time since Oscar Robinson. Everybody was wowed and amazed. This is unbelievable. And then they realized it was kind of some empty stats, the way that he played.
Yep.
You started to see that he got to the foul line a lot, but it wasn't necessarily truly earned. And that is really the Luka Doncic story. I mean, he scores points because he gets to the foul line on a lot of ticky-tack bullshit calls. He does have great vision, but I don't know if it's necessarily as elite as everybody makes it out to be. They've just designed a good system around him with guys who can shoot the 3, albeit they aren't knocking him down with the regularity that they normally do this year. And he's 6'8", he's big body, and he's going to have those opportunities. So due to kind of the way that he plays, yeah, he's going to get the stats. But if it's a good stats, bad team thing, that's frustrating to me as a Suns fan, because that's been the Devin Booker argument. That's the Bradley Beal argument. The guy's leading the league. And the only reason I asked this is before the game, I was watching NBA TV, and they were talking about the All-Star starters and things of that nature. And they were talking about Bradley Beal leading the league in points per game, but how he plays for such a bad team, and does he really deserve to be there? I'm like, well, hold on. The Mavericks aren't very good either. And they talked about how the Mavericks weren't very good either, because they were previewing the Suns and the Mavericks game. I'm like, so at what point what's the tipping point there? Somebody mentioned in the chat that he's not necessarily the boogie trend. No chance Luka's the NBA poster child. Like, we say that, but then you watch anytime there's a literal poster, it's like, subscribe to NBA League Pass, and they'll have 6 players up there. Luka's always there. It's LeBron, it's Giannis, and Luka's right there, James Harden, KD. So the NBA wants him to be a star for probably obvious reasons. He's Caucasian, so they want to appeal to some of that market. He's somebody who puts up the stats. He plays for a big market team. Dallas is the 6th largest city in the U.S., 6th or 7th. So, I mean, there's a lot of reasons that would make sense for them to want Luka to be great, but necessarily, I don't like the bad or the good team, bad stats guys, or I'm sorry, the bad team, good stats guys getting in, because Booker's been shunned, and it's a double standard. I don't agree with it.
Yeah. First off, everything horror, I'm not asleep. I'm awake. I just love listening to John. He can put me to sleep sometimes reading me bedtime stories, but that's not tonight. But I think it's just in reverse, because Luka Doncic came into the league. He was KOC's number 1 player, 1A, 1B, him and Aiden, but he came into the league just so dominant, and the Mavericks were good for 2 years. And last year, if Porzingis would just hold up and be the player that they wanted him to be, they maybe beat the Clippers. I'm not kidding. Like, the way they played the Clippers were very, they played him very well. I know they lost the series 4-1, but I just think that people know the potential right now with Luka. He started off such a high standard. That's why he's always going to get the nod unless something drastically happens. But Booker just started in a different way. You know, he's just working his way up, kind of like Beal, you know, just adding things to his game and then working his way up to all-star level. So I don't know what it is. I just think it's winning. But with Luka, yeah, they just need to keep that narrative going, I think, with him. And it's going to take a couple years for either he doesn't think Dallas is matching or giving him the pieces he needs around him to where he might ask out. Like stuff like that will start to happen with the media where they're going to ask those questions. It's like, is Luka, because especially his last time he was interviewed after the last game where he was just like, we're not good enough, stuff like that. That's going to happen more and more with him because he's very, very emotional, even post game. Like he just, I don't know if he's going to handle it right. And then that might turn on him and stuff like that. I'm not trying to throw that out there, but that's just the way the NBA is. And God damn it, it would be awesome if that happened.
Yes. Well, I'll tell you this.
It would be great.
I'll tell you this. You know, I'm not a fan of the double standard. Obviously, I just went on that rant about it. But at the same time, I prefer more wins, and that's where the Suns are at right now with them. Mm-hmm. So here's a segment we haven't brought up in a little bit. I'm going to spring this one on you, Matthew.
Thoughts. Brains?
So this is the part of the show where we talk about things that are not necessarily Suns related, but may affect the Suns. This one doesn't affect the Suns at all, but I saw this tonight. What are your thoughts on Matthew Stafford being traded to the Los Angeles Rams for Jared Goff and a shit ton of picks?
Yeah,
Fuck, man.
Are you, well, okay,
I'm a Cardinals fan. He's come to my division. I think that's a perfect quarterback for that team.
It's better than Deshaun Watson, though, right? I mean, it's worse than Deshaun Watson. I mean, like just Matthew Stafford as a whole, right? You think he's going to just dominate with that offense?
Yeah, because that team is designed to be quick passes, fast, protect the quarterback. That's what Matthew Stafford needs, is to be protected. And he hasn't been protecting Detroit for a decade now. Now he's coming to my division, and he's got all the weapons in the world, and he's going to exploit them, and God damn it.
Yeah, you know, it sucks for you, but good for the Rams because they got Goff out of there. And so trying to still work with the guy, it's like either he has it or he doesn't, right? He doesn't have it. So get him out of there, get Stafford, get someone that can actually throw the freaking ball quick, like you were saying, and get that offense rolling. It does suck for the Cardinals and Cardinals fans, but I like Matthew Stafford. I mean, I can't hate him. I mean, he's better to watch than Goff, right?
Yeah, I've always been a Matthew Stafford fan. That's why I don't like it. Like, I liked having Goff over there because the Rams would always kill us on defense. Because but he kind of sucks. Like, Goff's career is over. Like, anyone who has Goff on the fantasy team next year is just crazy or very, very injured. But anyways, I digress. Up next for the Phoenix Suns, we are again playing the Dallas Mavericks. It's going to be 6:30 p.m. on Monday, again in Dallas. What are your thoughts on this game? There's not necessarily too much to preview considering we just played this team. Hopefully Devin Booker's back. We know Porzingis will be back as tonight was a rest day. What are your thoughts on that game?
Okay, so thoughts are I would hope for more of the same, but not really just because I hate the close games. But with Booker back, the only thing I'm worried about is things switching up and getting used to him being back and all that kind of crap. And then you have to put up with playing the Mavericks and Luka Doncic with Porzingis being back, even though I mentioned doesn't matter if Porzingis is playing. He hasn't really gotten going, but it might be the game where he gets back to the way he's supposed to be and the way he's supposed to be playing. So I'm a little nervous, but I do like the fact that we won game one. You know, if we lose game two, I'm not going to be too upset because we split it. So it's fine with me. At least we got one of them. We didn't get swept like the Nuggets. So whatever happens in this game happens, but I want to see a very good offense on the first unit. I want to see them play very, very well together against the Mavericks team that doesn't play any defense. Let's just see how good that unit does. Because if they play well, then I feel like we'll win.
Agreed. And
I mean, that's stupid, but it's very obvious, right?
You know, if our best players play good to them, if we score more points than them, I think we'll win. So I'm going with that as well. In our Jam Session Predicts segment, you can let us know in the chat who do you think is going to win and what that final score will be. Currently, after this game, I'm 1-2 on the season. Matthew's 2-1, as we both predicted that the Suns would win this game. Matthew, what is your prediction for the game on Monday against the Mavericks?
I think the Suns lose, and I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just saying it's just the way these things go. It's hard to beat a team twice in a row, really. So, I mean, in basketball, it's kind of weird to say because it never happens. Baseball, you know what I mean? It happens all the time, but I just think it's going to be tough for the Suns to win this one. And if Porzingis is back, but I'm going to say loss. Sorry. Close game, but loss.
All right, so I'm going to go with a couple of our Jamsters, and I'm going to go ahead and say that the Suns are going to win this game.
Yes,
I really think that if Devin Booker's back, even if he's not back, I mean, the Suns right now are proven that they can win games without him. Dallas is a team whose number we have. DeAndre Ayton, I think has he lost, what, one game to them? Is that it? Or has he ever?
So. I don't think he's ever lost a game. I think he was out that game.
Yeah, I think he was out that game. So ever since we drafted DeAndre Ayton, he has not been on the court during the loss. And if he's out there playing, we win. So looking at the chat, you have Christian Zabrowski, a win. The Boogie Trend, they're dropping a win. Laced Bacon, Suns win 120 to 105. Mario Lopez, the great Mario Lopez, Suns 121 to 108. Det Nibble, Suns win 112 to 103. Humble Rumble's hoping for that W. Suns win. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say Suns win, and I'm going to say it's something, along the lines of a 110 to 103 win for the Suns. I got to go back and take a look at Vincent Stefanelli win. I got to go back and take a look at what we actually said our scores would be, because we both were right. They both got a win, or we both got the win. I wonder how close we were on the scores, because the final score again tonight for the Suns was 111 to 105. So it'll be interesting to see how close we were. So Matthew's saying loss, I'm saying win. I'm hoping that I win this one, so I tie you.
I hope so. I hope you win too.
It's not very often that we predict that separately, so I like that.
If the Suns win, you guys can kick me off. You can vote me off the podcast.
No, well, you get to shave one of your eyebrows.
Okay, I'll shave one half of the stash.
Yes, you'll be.
I'll do it. If they win, I'll shave it.
We wouldn't notice, man. We wouldn't even notice. I wouldn't. Until you get some better lighting in there.
Yeah,
I really, really wouldn't notice. We don't have any mailbag questions. Again, if you ever want to provide some information, be on the show, you can hit us up at sunsjamsession@gmail.com. If you ever want to be on the show, call in, kind of make sure if you want to be part of our Jamsters React segment on the pod, all you got to do is just DM us via Twitter at sunsjam. We'll send you a link to join, so you can give us your reaction on the game or ask us a question. It's not like a full segment, but join us. We'd love to have some of the Jamsters who are ever so loyal being on with us. We truly appreciate everyone who joins us. It's always a fun time, especially after a dub, hanging out with the Jamsters, Matthew.
Yeah, just make sure you bring a drink, bring a beer, bring a bra, whatever you want to bring onto the pod.
Yeah, whatever you want. Take a shot with us. We don't care. We got problems. This one's empty. So I think that's all we have for this evening. Again, Suns win 111 to 105 over the Dallas Mavericks, a team that we always love beating. This pushes the Suns to a 10-8 record, which is good enough for 6th seed currently in the Western Conference. Again, we're playing on Monday, 6:30, kind of an odd time for a game. So we'll be going live right around 8:30, right when that Suns game ends. You can join the Suns Jam session right here. So make sure, if you are watching again, subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the thumbs up button, hit the bell. If you're a listener, we thank you. Make sure that you subscribe, rate, and review the Bright Side Network, where you not only get our podcast, but you get the Fanning the Flames podcast as well. And you can follow the show at Suns Jam on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. You can follow me on Twitter at Darth Voida. You can follow this dude right here.
I'm Matthew Lilley.
And that's all I got for this evening. Have a happy Saturday night, everybody. Awesome win. Good times. I'm out.
All right. Happy birthday, Grin Ripa. And everyone go home and love your family.
Yes. Happy birthday. Take care, everybody.